Hello my dear YouTuber friends, and I do hope you're all keeping well. Welcome to this new video. This is Back to Basics part 15 from Microsoft Flight Simulator. In this video I'm going to be showing you how you can create a flight plan completely from scratch using the G1000 NXi multifunctional display here on the right. So we can set our departure airport, set our waypoints where we want to fly to, and our destination airport all from the G1000, manipulating essentially all these different buttons and knobs with the G1000 NXi. So let's not dilly-dally, let's get on with this video. Okay, so starting off on the Microsoft Flight Simulator homepage, let's go to World Map. Over London, as per usual for me, London City Airport, as you can see here. And what I'm going to do for this video, I'm actually going to spawn cold and dark. Let's choose gate 23 here. Or gate 24 I prefer. It was a bit obscure there, covered. Never mind, set as departure. So, gate 24 parking, I'm going to start cold and dark in the Cessna 172. That's all I'm going to set in the world map. And for flight planning, you can do it from the world map. What I'm going to use is SimBrief. Now, I'm going to link the video in the top right that I did of SimBrief. I did quite a thorough video of this, how to plan a flight, and then how to actually put that in certain aircraft into Microsoft Flight Simulator as well. We're not going to use it for that in this case. We're just going to use it for flight planning, and you can use whatever flight planner you prefer. I just like SimBrief personally. So we're going to go to departure, EGLC, it's already in there. London City arrival, EGKK, it's not in there, so I'll put it in. Gatwick Airport, don't worry about the alternate airport. I'm just going to leave that on auto. But if you scroll down here, it will give you a suggestion for your flight. Now, go and watch the video if you need to bring your knowledge up on SimBrief specifically. This video is not really about that. But I'm going to choose the fourth option here because it's quite a simplistic flight plan. Gives you a SID, which we're not going to use. We're going to use these two waypoints. So this one here, where my cursor is, and this one here. I'm going to write these down and make a note of them. I urge you to do the same. Just make a note of the waypoints, which will be along the way there. Simple, so it's just two waypoints we'll be entering into the G1000 NXi. Okay, so let's switch you back to Flight Simulator. With that all set up, I've got the Cessna 172 selected there. Let's go fly. Okay, so here we are, cold and dark in the Cessna 172. Let's just get inside the cockpit. Let's get a bit of power to the aircraft, shall we? I'll just flick a few switches here. Following proper procedures or not, don't worry. I'm just getting power to the Garmins. Press the enter button there, so that comes up as well. We'll just let that warm up a bit. Whilst I'm on the ground, let's just put a few lights on. And again, don't worry, it's not proper procedure, don't worry about it. I'm just getting power up and a few lights to warn of aircraft that we're about to set our flight route and take off, basically, and taxi. Okay, so what we'll do, we're on the right G1000 there. Show you that again. So, that's our primary flight display screen. This is our multifunctional screen, the right one. So we're on the right one there. And what we're going to do, we're going to press the FPL button to bring up a flight plan. And there's no flight plan set up, as you can see. Now, with the G1000 NXi, we need to get a flashing cursor going here. So what we're going to do, we're going to hold our left mouse button over the outer FMS knob here. Hold down your left mouse button and click your right, and you'll get a flashing cursor come up. Now it's asking us for our origin airport. We need to get down to that next line, so the inner FMS knob here, you can see it's highlighted. I'm going to mouse up, yep, that's right, mouse up once. And I'm going to use the outer knob. It's a little bit complex. Once it's on this line here, use your outer knob. And just mouse up. It'll bring up a menu. Now it's asking you for your departure airport. Now you can use your outer knob and scroll through the letters. So I want to get to EGLC. Easier way to do this is just hit that icon there. That's keyboard entry. Have a keyboard connected. Works on Xbox and PC this, but use the keyboard. Press left click the keyboard icon there. And now you can actually use your physical keyboard to type in EGLC, London City. And it should come up there, London City, to make sure that you have typed in the correct code. And that's right. And then once that's done, just press your keyboard icon again to turn it off, keyboard entry, and press enter. And then a new menu will come up asking you for the runway. Use your outer knob again just to select. I'm going to select, following proper procedures, runway 27 there, and press my enter button, ENT button down here. Hope that wasn't too fast for some of you. And just press enter again to accept. So there you go, we got our origin airport, departure airport, EGLC, runway 27. And that's all fine. You don't need to worry about anything else for this video. We're not going to go into anything more in too much depth here. We'll keep it nice and simple. To get down to our en route, remember I showed you before in SimBrief. I'll quickly show you on screen again. The 2 waypoints we need to enter here. Now I've made a note of them, so I don't need to keep passing you through different screens or switching different screens with you. So to get to the en route, you want to come down to this line here, use your inner FMS knob, scroll up, and then use your outer FMS knob, just scroll up again when you're on that line. There we go. And it's asking you for your first, it's essentially your first navigation point or your first waypoint. So I'm going to click this keyboard entry icon again, I don't want to do it using the knobs. So click this icon, make sure it's highlighted, and I can type in the first waypoint that we saw in SimBrief before, EGNIV. And it kind of shows you on this little map where it is. It's somewhere over here, but it shows you here where it is. Click the keyboard icon again, or symbol again, to turn it off, and press enter. And there you go, that's our first waypoint inputted into our G1000. So we got our first waypoint set up. Again, we're now on our second en route, our second waypoint. So we can use the outer FMS knob, just scroll up with your mouse. And again, click the keyboard symbol here, the icon here. Turn keyboard entry on, type in our second waypoint, or nav point, MIMFO. Click the keyboard icon again, symbol again, to turn keyboard entry off and click enter. And now it's entered into our route. So those are the only 2 waypoints we want. We'll come back to this in a moment. I'll show you this in a clearer view in a moment. But they're set up. We just need to scroll down now to our destination airport. So we want to get to this line here. Use your inner FMS knob, scroll up once, twice. And then use your outer FMS knob, scroll up. And we could type in, remember, keyboard entry. I'm going to click that icon there. Come on, it's a bit fiddly. There we go. EGKK. EGKK. And it should come up Gatwick Airport there. Turn off keyboard entry, press enter. Asking you for a runway, so I'm just going to scroll up using the outer FMS knob to 26 left as it's heading in that general direction. Press enter. Enter again. And that's our flight route entered. To stop this icon from flashing, hold down your left mouse button and right mouse button. That'll stop it. Click off flight plan to hide the flight plan. And we could scroll out using this range button. Yes, I'm scrolling up to scroll out. And you can see it's put in a flight plan for us. So there you go, runway 27. Heading towards our first waypoint, EKNIV, second waypoint MIMFO, and towards Gatwick Airport. This should work for any kind of flight route. You can do it from scratch in the G1000 using those methods. So tell you what I'm going to do. Let me just, again, probably not following proper procedures, but we'll be okay for this flight. There we go. Everything stopped flashing. We got our engines up and running. What I'm going to do, I'm just going to press B on my keyboard. Make sure my current altitude above sea level is correct. Set my autopilot assigned altitude. Go and look at the other back to basic videos if you're not sure how to do this and why we're doing this. That's the altitude I want the autopilot to climb to. Nothing too complex. Just going to prove that this does work. I'll release the parking brake. Oh, power down. I didn't realise I had my throttle up. Release the parking brake. Use a keyboard shortcut Shift and P. Left Shift and P. It will just push us back. We just need to push back to around about here and then turn on to runway 27. It's going to be a short takeoff, but we're in a tiny Cessna 172. Shouldn't really matter. The only thing is, we're going to have to engage heading mode to turn back towards our nav mode. I want to put it into nav mode, but we'll be heading away from the route, so I'm just going to have to turn back towards it. I could take off from runway 9, that would make it easier, and you can do whichever you prefer. But generally, aircraft land and take off from runway 27 at London City Airport, which is fine. By the way, if this airport looks slightly different to yours, it's because I've got the London City Airport add-on pack linked to that in the top right. Let's stop the pushback. Link to that in the top right. It does add a lot to London City Airport, and I fully recommend it. Okay, actually, let's stay external. And we can just go on. He's far enough away now. We can just start to taxi towards runway 27. Go. Full deflection, full rudder right there, just to turn a little bit sharper. Oops, Speedy Gonzales. There we go, I just get onto the runway. I'm just going to prove that this flight plan does work. I'm not going to do the whole route. It's just going to show you that it will lock on and that actually will follow the route with no problems at all. So let me just get towards. Taxi onto runway 27. I've got my autopilot set up. Full deflection there, full throttle. Rather short takeoff here, but we're only in a tiny tiddly Cessna 172, so it shouldn't really matter. Go on, we'll just make that, won't we? That's fine. We'll just do a bit of trimming. All the stuff that we've learnt from previous back to basics. Ooh, a little bit of wind there blowing me. And what I'll do, I'll just turn back towards that flight route. Let me just get back up. I don't trust my trim settings there. I was absolutely correct. So I'm just flying back towards that flight route, just turning back towards it, and then I'll engage autopilot and nav, basically, to follow our route, our flight plan. Nothing too complex at all. Using the Holtest Mach 2 here, so I can turn a little bit sharper than I would normally using a yoke, but that's fine. And you know what, let's not get our trim out of control there, let's just bring it back under control. Let's press the autopilot and nav mode. And I might need to employ some vertical speed there, just so it just starts to climb, and just pull back my throttle a bit so I'm not damaging the engines. And there you go. GPS is highlighted here, so it's following our flight plan. There you go, it's following it along now. And it will follow it all the way along to Gatwick Airport. So what I'll do here, I'll do a quick cut using the magic of video editing, and I'll bring you back when we're somewhere towards Gatwick Airport. Okay, and welcome back. So we're heading somewhere towards Gatwick Airport. Let me just get internal for you. and go to our right G1000. So it's followed the route using the nav all the way around. We're now on our last leg towards Gatwick Airport, as you can see there. Just to remind myself and you, we want to land, or we're set up to land at runway 26 left, so we'll take the left runway at Gatwick Airport. So that's all going well. How far have we got to go? There we go, you can see from the top there, 17 nautical miles to... Let's just move my mouse up so that doesn't happen. Just under 17 nautical miles to runway 26 left, which is okay. Plenty of people flying today. Lovely scenery as well, as always, over the London area. Let's make it very immersive. And yet, one thing I will mention in this video, I'm showcasing the G1000 NXi again. It's a free mod for Xbox and PC users for Microsoft Flight Simulator. I believe, from what I've heard, in the next sim update, which will be coming soon, this will be the default G1000. So if you're using the old one, or you prefer the old one, you better make a switch soon and get used to this. I would say switch anyway. I'll link the video I did quite a while ago of the overview of the G1000 NXi. Few things have changed. There's been a few patches, so a few additions have been made. It's a very, very capable G1000 system. Far more capable than the old default one. You can do so much with this. And I've showed various videos of various different functions. Go and watch the... I'll actually link my guides and tutorial videos at the end. Just scroll through the G1000 videos that I've done, VOR videos, that type of thing. Very, very capable G1000 system. So I'll say switch. You've got nothing to lose by switching to it anyway, and a lot to gain. But yeah, that will be coming. It will be the default G1000. Within the next sim update, or when the next sim update hits, I believe. Now what I like to do, because I'm flying a North Europe server as always, I like to take a quick look around and just see if I can see any familiar names from Discord or from the channel. I'm not sure. You are flying at this time, or were flying at this time, by the what time you watch this video, then do excuse me, but I'm not seeing anybody that I particularly recognise there. Ah, no. There, back into the cockpit. How far have we got to go? So keep in mind, if you're using the G1000, it's on various different aircraft, including the Kodiak aircraft as well. If you want the immersion of setting up a flight route, let's move over to it, a flight route from scratch. Actually just using the G1000 capabilities, so you're not doing it from Flight Planner, you're actually jumping in a plane, cold and dark, setting up a flight route, taxiing and taking off and landing and following that flight route. Very immersive. Follow this video, it should work with any flight route essentially, and you can use things like Navigraph, VATSIM, Little Nav Map, the world map if you choose, to get those waypoints of where to fly to. I prefer SimBrief, it just feels a little bit more authentic. So there you go, Gatwick Airport in the distance. Before long we should start seeing the actual runways. So 10 nautical miles out. Slowly getting there. There we go, just coming under. Now, what have I got on? Should we turn our landing lights on? Turn our taxi lights off for the moment. I'll just keep the rest on. It's fine. So we can be lit up like a Christmas tree. Although in this kind of light, you're not going to see much. Well, you can see a couple of lights there. There you go. Coming into land, chaps, clear the runway. It's Hoddesdon, don't forget. So, give me a wide berth for your own sake. ...9 nautical miles out, so when we get to just under 6, I'll get into flaps 1. Stage 1 flaps under autopilot, might as well. And of course, there's other things you could set up here. You could set up, I'm not going to go over it in this video, just keep it simple, but a visual approach to the runway, so it'll give you a line towards the runway, OBS, all kind of thing, VOR, whichever you prefer. As I'm in a simple Cessna, I don't think I'm going to have too much trouble lining up with, well there it is, isn't it, runway 27. Very simple. Seems to be pretty much dead on to me. There we go. Where are we? 7 nautical miles, that's okay. Always lovely to fly and make these videos. Gives me a good excuse to fly and try different practices. And yeah, I know the VATSIM video, sort of first flight in VATSIM, I need to do that and I will be doing that. Just keep, be patient with me. I'm still working in the London charity and yeah, time's limited, but I will get around to that, so do bear with me. There we go. Come on, go, and just about to get beyond 6 nautical miles, or under 6 nautical miles would be a better way of saying it. Ah, couldn't get a clearer view of that runway, could you? Wow, okay. Well, that makes it very simple for me. Might as well start slow. And again, to get to stage 1 flaps, I want to get to 1900 RPM. Just bringing my throttle back slowly. I don't need to do too much of a drastic slowdown at the moment because we're still some distance from the runway. So I'll just bring it down slowly. You can see my speed dropping, get into this white taper on the speed ribbon here, or white area for flaps 1, stage 1 flaps. All very straightforward. Runway's just there. Lovely, lovely. Seems to be a few people around that area as well, so that's going to be interesting. Stage 1 flaps. There we go. Just check they've deployed, and they have. Keep myself steady under autopilot there. Make sure my speed doesn't drop too much. Just bring it up to around, well, just a tad there, just to keep my speed steady. That's fine. Ah, get a little bit nearer, take it off autopilot and land. And that's the whole flight route done. Setting up from scratch in the G1000 NXi. Not bad, hey? Some of it does seem to be disappearing as we go along. So that line's still there, that one. The line we took off from has disappeared. Don't know if that's authentic to the real G1000 or whether that's just another bug that the NXi squad have to fix still. Doesn't really matter because we've flown that part of the flight route anyway, so it's not affecting our current route. Let me just move my throttle up just a tad there. Ah, you know what? Do I take it off autopilot here? Have I got my right button set up? Maybe not. Thought it was. Bear with me. Oh yeah, it is. Just using the Raptor Mach 2, just making sure that I've got the I'm clicking the right buttons to turn off autopilot and goodness knows what. So it's off now. Just throttle back a little bit to change my flight profile there to descend slightly. Although still a little bit away from that runway, so I'm not in too much of a need to descend yet. Though it is a bit floaty, I've noticed. It is still a bit floaty. Question for you chaps watching this, do you find things like Cessna 172, 152 a bit floaty after the last sim update? Now I don't know again how authentic that is to the real thing. It just seems as you're descending, pulling back your throttle, it's not descending the way it used to, it's actually just floating and sometimes climbing, which is a bit concerning. I had to pull back my throttle significantly more than I wanted to there. That's okay, that seems to be a good profile. Envisioning landing over the sort of beginning part of the runway. So, about that line there. It's a good reference, another good tip for you. Just envision where you want your nose of the aircraft to touch down. Works in a variety of different aircrafts, including the good old Cessna 172 here. So I'm just keeping my profile to land where I want it to land on the runway. We'll see how that turns out. Depending how floaty this gets. See here, I'm having to just alter my trim profile there, trim settings, just to make sure, because I was pulling back, it wasn't descending. I don't know, something just seems a bit off. It might just be me though, so do let me know below. Pulling back again, it's not descending at all. Let's get it down. Yeah, something may need to be fixed in the next sim update in terms of the Cessna 172, 152 and the way it behaves, especially when coming into land. But it's working now, it's working fine now. So there you go, I envision landing around about there. And look, it's happened. Anyway, there you go. We'll just get down. Oh, that's fine. You know, do we follow a taxi? Let's just pull off, shall we? Just in case someone is behind us and saying, hey, I want to land. There we go, just pull off on this grass over here, it looks good. Bring my flaps up. That seems good to me. So there you go, chaps. That's how you would input a route from scratch using a G1000 NXI. Have a go of it, set your own route, plan your own route and try and put in that. Let me know your thoughts below. Give the video a like if you've enjoyed it, subscribe for more, and I'll be seeing you soon.